Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about a film called Under the Sun of Satan, and it's a French drama from 1987 directed by Maurice Pialat. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but I don't speak French. This is based on a 1926 novel of the same name written by this person, whose name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. So, this film centers on a priest named Father Donison and the ways in which Satan will wreak havoc on his life. A teenage girl with secrets is going to inadvertently reveal the snare in which he's trapped. I want to share just enough information for my viewers to decide if they'd like to check out the films I discuss, but I won't be going too into detail. Don't watch the trailer for this because it reveals too much, and don't look it up because the description gives way too much information. I take my time deciding how I'll talk about a film, so if this sounds good to you, I hope you'll stick around. The film begins, and we see Father Donison talking with his superior. Donison's feelings of inadequacy are gnawing at him. He feels that the responsibilities of the parish are too much for him, and he wants the bishop to send him back to the monastery. We see him leading a communion, putting a wafer in a girl's mouth, when all of a sudden he stops what he's doing and looks up. The scene ends abruptly, and we're suddenly introduced to Mouchette, who's played by Sandrine Bonnaire. We see her having an argument with one of her lovers because she wants to run away to Paris, but he's struggling financially and so he can't. She gets angry because she doesn't get her way and knows how to push his buttons with what she says. In just this brief introduction, we see that she's a manipulative and cunning young girl. She's only 16, and like most teenagers, she's impulsive. She spends the night, but something terrible is going to happen the following morning. Something she'll try her hardest to keep as a secret. Why did this jump to Mouchette's introduction so suddenly? Hasn't the focus been on Father Donison's activities in the church? Yes. But despite not being in Mouchette's proximity, Father Donison has psychic abilities and was envisioning their interaction during the communion. His gifts prove too difficult. The knowledge weighs on him, and he exhorts her to confess what she's done. Her actions will weigh on both of them, and the ramifications will be dire. Let's get into some of my opinions. I really like the music in this. There wasn't a lot, but the title sequence intrigued me because of it. It was really ominous and set the stage for all the things that were going to unfold. I also appreciated the color palette and views of the countryside. Most scenes are bathed in deep shades of green and blue, and it gives a dreamy but depressing quality. My favorite part of this movie was when Father Donison was on his way to an assignment. He had to walk several kilometers, and he encounters a stranger who offers to show him a shortcut, but the stranger is not who he claims to be. The landscape is bathed in a deep blue, and it all feels foreboding. The more the stranger speaks, the more we see how precarious Father Donison's situation is. I liked seeing Sandrine Bonnaire and Gerard Depardieu working together. They're both really good actors. This is only the second film I've watched with him in it, but I'm curious about what else he's done. They both gave compelling performances, which was great because they played the main characters. The narrative was perfect for me. I gravitate toward darker themes, and I enjoy depictions of people grappling with faith because I feel like we'll all go through this at one point, and I find that I'm able to appreciate them because I recognize that there's a huge risk for the directors who undertake these projects. When I was writing for this video, I did some research, and I learned that people booed during the film's premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. It certainly tackles issues that could anger many Catholics, but nothing was overtly blasphemous, so I don't understand. It just goes to show how sensitive some people can be. I mean, this was made in 1987. It wasn't from 1921 or something, but whatever. At times, the transitions between scenes were abrupt, and the first one that stood out to me was deliberate. It's the one where he's leading the communion and we're suddenly introduced to Mouchette. I thought that was appropriate for the context, but the other ones bothered me, and I think it was just a matter of editing. My main issue with this movie is the dialogue. It's a very philosophical film. It's only an hour and 37 minutes, but it's loaded with vague, rambling speech. Donison and Mouchette are going through their respective crises, and they tend to talk about them at length to the people in their lives. Donison speaks very cryptically at times, and I was lost. Then we have Mouchette, who uses a lot of similes and metaphors for a 16-year-old girl, which I guess is understandable. She was this promiscuous girl who was involved with 2 adult men and was able to keep it a secret, so she was probably meant to be intelligent, but I found the dialogue too poetic and long-winded. I don't need everything to be spoon-fed to me, but I would have preferred less rambling, more showing, more symbolism, anything really. Going back to Mouchette, she's a 16-year-old girl, but it's obvious that Sandrine is much older. She was around 20 when she filmed this, but in my opinion, she looks closer to 30, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, it's just that I take issue with this mainly because it's hard to go along with, and I also believe that choosing grown women to play underage girls is an easy way for perverts to portray teenagers indecently and get away with it. I'm not implying that this director is a pervert. Mouchette was fully clothed in this. I want you to bear in mind that this movie's style isn't for everyone. I'm usually not a fan of films like this, but I'm trying to be more open-minded. You need to watch it when you're not falling asleep or sweating to death. It really requires your full attention. If you've watched Diary of a Country Priest by Robert Bresson, then this is a film for you. That movie is based on another book by the same author actually, and I enjoyed seeing the parallels between the 2 stories as well as the differences. I personally enjoyed Diary of a Country Priest a lot more, but it's so damn sad, so I don't recommend watching it if you're in a bad place, unless you're a masochist like me. The shots of Father Donison walking through the countryside and seemingly struggling with his health felt like a nod to Diary of a Country Priest. That one is about an unnamed austere priest who's transferred to his first assignment and, just like Donison, feels incapable of leading the parishioners. He deals with a succession of trials, including serious health complications and malicious rumors, which cause him to grapple with his faith. Like the priest in that film, Donison also has his austere moments. There's a scene where you see him self-flagellating with a chain, and then later on in the movie, his superiors reproach him for his outdated ways of doing things. They want to remain in the good graces of the parishioners, so they tell him he needs to dial things down because his behavior ends up disturbing some people. There's something about depictions of monks and nuns that's very appealing to me. I like learning about different cultures and practices. I like knowing about history and religions, and I find it staggering when I see people so devoted to their faith and living these disciplined lives. It's something I really admire, within reason of course. There are many honest, devout clergy members who live these lives out of love for mankind and their personal relationships with their gods. Most of us see these people as pillars, but we forget that pillars can easily crumble when they're susceptible to the same struggles and vices we are. I don't subscribe to any religion, but I'm not an atheist by any means. I think this is very useful when I watch these movies because I can see both sides and appreciate them without feeling disrespected or ashamed. I'm able to sympathize with the people experiencing these crises of faith and see things from a more neutral perspective, you know? I worry that sometimes religious people might turn off their empathy for characters like Father Donison, who surely exist in the real world, but if that's the case, then this movie isn't for them. What can you do? I give this film 3 out of 5 stars. I know this wasn't supposed to be a horror movie, but the name sounds so menacing, and it sounds like the title of a black metal album or something like that, and I don't know, I personally would have loved to see more scenes like the one with the mysterious stranger, but I understand that this wasn't the director's vision, so I don't really have much else to say because this is one of those movies that you have to watch for yourself. You have to immerse yourself in it. Again, it's dialogue heavy, so you need to be patient. We reached the end. I want to thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this review, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Bye.